Hey guys, we're back.
Holy
Welcome to week 78 of building my custom Venator. I owe you guys a deep apology for not uploading recently on the Venator update series. I've just been so stressed and working so hard at school for my architectural degree. There was several nights that week I was just not eating and not sleeping, like staying up 2 days straight just working on stuff. That's how hard I was working, and I needed some time to rest a little bit after all of that hard work I put into my architecture work. So I am back. We are going to finish this thing before Brooklyn, Chicago. That is a guarantee. There's a lot to do still, but I do think we can get it all done without being rushed for Brooklyn, Chicago, because I don't want to rush this project out before Brook Road like so many creators do, and then it turns out looking kind of mid. But we've been working on this thing really hard, so I really think we can get it done by Brook Road, Chicago to a quality that I'm happy with. You know, at the end of the day, I always want to go back and change things over and over again because I always want to make improvements. But at some point, I just gotta call it quits. So after Brooklyn, Chicago, this project will be over completely. We will be starting the next mock, which you may know what it is if I've mentioned it before on the channel. So you may know what the next mock is going to be. But without further ado, let's get into this update because we have a bunch of stuff to do. But first, make sure to smash that like and subscribe button down below. Every subscription does help, and since we haven't been uploading a lot, we haven't been getting a lot of subs. So any subscription that you guys make to the channel does help out a lot. Because honestly, I don't make a lot, guys. I mean, I maybe make like $3-4 per Venator update on YouTube. So anything you guys can choose to the mock series, whether it be donation or super chat, really does mean a lot and does help out this project significantly. And the next project that we're going to be working on, which is going to be way more expensive than this one. But without further ado, please smash that like and subscribe button, and let's get into this Venator update. So to begin this week on the Venator update, we have a lot to fix, repair, and clean. This table has become a table for just things I've built. We got this Dark Trooper bus I started working on, didn't complete yet. We got AATs, we got this Pisana speeder, droid carrier. We got a whole bunch of stuff on this Venator that we have to clean up and repair. And that is because in the last Venator update, we were working on modifying this back section to make it even stronger for the Venator so it could support the massive heavy engines. So to do that, we had to take off the Venator's bridge. And while I was working at college all day, my mom came into my room and she knocked over the bridge on the Venator. Now this is an easy 30-minute fix max, guys, so don't worry. This is not going to take a while. I just got to pop this back on and that back on. So maybe 30 minutes to repair this at max. So it's not a big concern because everything is mostly intact. But to begin this week on the Venator update, I really think we should just clean up the Venator so we can get it ready for Brooklyn, Chicago. So now we have cleaned up the Venator a little bit. It still has parts everywhere, but everything's organized and everything's a lot cleaner. So now we're going to work on putting this bridge back on top and rebuilding it. It shouldn't take too long, but I've got to do that first to make sure no more damage happens to that Venator bridge, because otherwise it'll take a long time to rebuild. So as I was putting the bridge back together, I ran into some difficulties. For some reason, the pieces weren't fitting in the spot properly. I know this sounds weird to say, but it wasn't lining up properly. So I had to basically modify it a bit, and for some, it just wasn't working. So I just kept working at it, and this is what you'll see me doing this process. It took a little bit longer than 30 minutes, like I said, but it took like only an hour to do, which wasn't too terrible, but still it did take a little bit of time for me to actually get this complete. So we now have the Venator bridge back on secure. However, this isn't secure. Yeah, that happens easily, and this is too. But I might actually rebuild this eventually one day. Maybe in the near future. I'm not 100% sure if I'll have time to do it before Brook Road, but I thought of a new technique for this, and I really want to try it out. But that is something for another day if we have the time to get it done before Brook Road. But the one thing I really want to do right now is I want to put this panel back on, and I want to build it perfectly so that it lines up with the engines. We're going to put an engine on and see how that fits, so that I can get an idea of how to build the back end, and then I can figure out how to build the gun turrets, because I need to figure out the sizing and proportions for those. So what I was supposed to be doing was just simply putting this panel and this panel on, and then I got a little sidetracked. So in the old days, before I did this whole crazy thing, these studs right here were connected to these two beams and basically hold this piece together, right? But it wasn't lining up the way it used to, and I'm assuming that's because of all the weight that's been pushing down on this side of the Venator for so long that these don't line up perfectly anymore. And it's always such a struggle to get this piece and this big piece attached. So my mindset was, let's think of a new solution for this. And I've been doing that for the past few hours. Now, you may see these notches right there, and right there. Well, that is because those notches go inside these holes, right? And then we connect them using plates on top like this. I'll show you a demonstration right now. Now, usually we use a 1x6, but all we have is 1x4 right now. I have to order some more off Lego.com, so that is good to know for our next parts order. But basically, in a sense, this connects the bridge section to the panels instead of it being panels to bridge to Venator core, which makes it a bit more complicated. But I thought this was an easy solution to my problem. However, this thing, sometimes when it sits on top of these things, it curves a bit. So you can see how it's angled like that down there and angled like that down there, which is a bit of a problem. So I always have to make sure that this is lined up properly whenever I set it down because it's so complicated to deal with. But my next train of thought was thinking, what if we could connect this part to this part, and that way it's one big piece instead of two separate sections. Okay, so it looks like I haven't done a lot, but I have been. So this is all one piece now. I had to basically redesign this entire section right here, and it looks good now. It's complete in this one section, but now I gotta do it for the rest of this massive thing because connecting these two sections is not an easy task, especially since there are two different directions of studs, and it makes things kind of complicated in the ways of support for this massive panel. Because when I'm carrying it from like right here, I don't want it to break apart and then shatter on the floor. That would be bad. So this is taking a lot longer than I anticipated. And then on top of that, we have to do it for the other side still. So still a lot at work here, but hopefully we can get this done soon though, so we can start designing the turrets. Hey guys, we've been working for a few hours on repairing this, and we have now gotten this attached to this, and this section attached to this section, this section attached to this section. So we have a really strong connection between the two panel points, and it all now works through this system. Now we just need to fill in the blocks and the gaps. But there is a problem with this new method. So originally, I don't know how this would work. I'm just assuming, because there's a big gap here now, that these things would shift a little bit, right? And then it would fill this gap up. But since I have it attached to the bridge now, there's this gap here. So I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to fill this in, because it looks like a very hard gap to fill. If you guys have any suggestions on how I do this down below, please comment them, because I'm not 100% sure I'm going to do this. But I have no clue what I'm doing with this gap, because this is going to be very frustrating to figure out. But I'm sure we can figure this out with time, but who knows if we'll be able to or not. But I think we got enough of this rebuilt right now to start working on the brand new turret design, because I really want to start working on those so I can order the parts for those, since I know I have all the parts I need to make this as is. Okay, after a few hours of work, we got this prototype turret design. I think this looks really, really nice. I mean, like, the quality here, amazing. This took a few hours to make, and I think the angles we were able to capture here were absolutely amazing. I actually designed this on LDD back a while ago, like 2 years ago, and this is mainly using old Lego parts because LDD was last updated in 2017. Obviously, now I use Mega Bricks, but 2 years ago, I was in the hospital, and I was designing some stuff for the Venator, like the hanger and this piece right here. Those were the only two things I designed really for it. Everything else is just free built out of my mind, you know, with trial and error. But these two things were designed in a Lego Digital Designer, and I think this came out amazing for the most part. Obviously, it's not done yet. There's things that could be changed, like the front. It's not done yet, obviously. These red things are going to be light bluish gray, which will change a lot of the features on it. And I'm going to be making these dark bluish grays as well. But there's still a lot to figure out. Like, I don't know how the turrets are going to go on here. And I got to figure out this front section. I think I want to use a few pieces. I'll show you in a minute what I want to use. But we're going to have to order a lot of those parts. Obviously, going to have to order a lot of parts for this project, for these turrets. But, I mean, I'm really happy with how this is coming out. Obviously, these lights are going to change to be rectangle squares, of course, in this shade of green. And I think this is coming out great. Down below, I was worried at first they were going to be too big, because, you know, they looked a little bit big at first. But then I looked at the Venator a bit, and I'm like, you know, I think they're fine. So I'm very happy with how this is coming out. I think they fit in perfectly, and I can't wait to install a bunch of these. Man, this is just so cool. Like, right? Like, oh, that I'm waiting to do these forever. So I'm very happy about that. I just can't wait to get some of these in gray though, because I really think it'll look a lot better. Because in red, it just looks a bit off to me right now. But man, these are beautiful. So for the front, this is our first design we have. I'm not in love with this one. I think we can do a bit better with a different piece, but we don't have that piece in dark red yet. But I'll show you what piece I'm thinking about right now so you guys can decide. Okay, so this is another idea I had for the prototype of the design. Right here, we have this big piece in the front here that I'm not sure even exists in dark red. I'll have to check to see if that exists in dark red. But this is the other design I was thinking of. I think this looks a bit better, and I personally like this one a bit more. However, I think it's too low to the ground for the green dashes, so I think I might have to move it up a bit. We'll see how that works out. But yeah, this is the other design I was thinking of. I think I kind of like this too. So I raised it up by a plate and I attached the front part of the section to the actual bill instead of it just being loose on there. And I think it looks a bit better, but what I thought would look even better is if I put another one of these pieces on top right here. Like, now that I think looks the best of all the options. My one problem with this though, however, is that dark red for this piece is kind of hard to come by. Lego doesn't make it on Pick a Brick anymore. It is available on Bricklink, but to get the quantity I need, which would be, if I need 2 of them, 16, that is a little bit expensive, which I'm willing to do, but at the end of the day, it's not the most efficient use of method because I have to go to a separate store to get that piece, and all the other prices may be expensive on other parts I need. So yeah, that's a bit frustrating, but I think it would be worth it for this piece right here. Alright, so we basically placed all the parts we're going to need. There's quite a few of them that we actually placed. We placed like 3. We placed 1 on Bricklink, and then another one on Bricklink for those red parts, and then we placed another one on Lego.com for the special curve pieces we need, and some more pieces for the engines, which we also desperately need. But next week, we're going to be crunch week. Once all those parts come in, we're going to be grinding out so much stuff, and I'm really excited for that because, honestly, I've been waiting on some of these last parts to get for the Venator project so that I can actually complete the engines. And I just cannot wait to show them to you because it's going to look incredible. So that's going to wrap it up for this week on my custom Venator. Make sure to smash that like and subscribe button. We are officially back, and I cannot wait to get this thing done by Brickworld Chicago. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out and goodbye.